Hey there folks, Cozzy here for Pick 1 Pack 1 and welcome to this run through of Jekk's Bounty. We're up to the 7th mission, Grenadin Revolt, where I love the theme of this. We're going down into the mines, we're trying to deal with the Grenadins, the robots that have been mining Shift Zone that have all gone a little AWOL. And there's a decent hint with this where enemy Grenadin gain random battle skills when played. We're going to be up against a lot of different types of Grenadin. Bunch of little creatures, which generally don't have a lot of health, but have random abilities. And that gives us a bit of a hint as to how we want to be approaching this particular matchup. So, the two decks that I have for this are Praxis Tokens list. This is an adaptation of the Mad Dynamancers list that I had before with some smaller changes. And it's interesting to compare and contrast. So we still have cheap 1-drops running straight through the line. We even have the Ruthless Strangers. In this case, I've done the Sacrilege. I've gotten rid of Torch, one of the best pieces of removal in the game, and that's because knowing what my opponent's playing and knowing that I'm going to be going up against a lot of 1-health Grenadin, Temper is a strict upgrade. Likewise, Piercing Shot stays because it's an efficient piece of removal, and then we have creatures like Talir's Favored, which are going to be ramping us up to Obelisk again, and ideally giving us a bunch of boosts, but also being bodies in the meantime. And then we had Unlock Potential here, the spell that is in Manasess's original list. I do like it. Your units get +1/+1. This is a permanent boost. It's not a temporary combat trick. And so if you go wide enough, it's great. And unlike against the Dynamancer where I took it out, we're not getting transformed into new creatures. So whatever I have on the table keeps that ability permanently. Gone up a couple more on the Marisen's Disciple here to better represent a full Praxis Tokens list. And the whole idea is to be removing the X1s to have cheap creatures that can exchange and then eventually making mine bigger with the Obelisk to win the match. Alternatively, being aggressive might not be your cup of tea. Let's go back to the Feln Control deck. And these ones have morphed a little bit since patch 1.18. I'm quite enjoying the direction that they're heading in. And part of this is because we've had the opportunity to incorporate Borderlands Waykeeper, and also part of it is because Tundra Explorer has had a makeover. This is definitely the new and improved Tundra Explorer. We used to have Tundra Explorer as a 2-drop 2/2 that when it attacked, if the top card of your deck is a spell, you could draw it. The problem for that is if I wanted to be playing my perfect card to sweep up tokens, Lightning Storm that does 2 damage to each unit, my Tundra Explorer would be getting hit in the crosshairs as well. This way, being a 3/3, I can now go ultra heavy on the spells, knowing that I'm giving myself an amazingly high chance of drawing with Tundra Explorer and not worry about being hit with my own Lightning Storm. And so you'll notice here, I really don't have many creatures at all. The creatures I have are a playset of Borderlands Waykeeper that came out in the first expansional promo, for lack of a better phrase. This is a really good creature. It's a 2-cost 1/3 with Aegis, which makes it difficult to target. It can block flyers if you need to upgrade and they happen to get lucky to get flying. Otherwise, it's 3 health with 1 power. It can just block for days. Exactly what you need. And it requires 2 spells to try and get rid of it if it's not a creature. We have the Tundra Explorer, which is the engine for the whole deck. And then we have a playset of Stormcallers, where you can exhaust them to do 1 damage, either to your opponent or most likely to a whole bunch of Grenadin. And they can chump block for days too. Better than chump block. They can actually block, being a 0/2. As far as the rares in this deck, we have a Staff of Stories, and I think we're pretty close to it. Tundra Explorer is an uncommon. Yeah, this is a cheapest chips deck. The rest of these are all commons and uncommons. You may need to be spending a little bit of power to be building up these Borderlands Waykeepers, although you do get them in draft. And the rest of these are just who's who of the best spells in Feln Colors, which is, of course, the colors to be if you want to be controlling. We have Permafrost, which are great against the Grenadin that do damage to you when they die. We have Suffocates, we have Annihilates, we have a Backlash, because they do have a couple of quirky spells in the deck, and holding one up is fine. One of the more interesting ones is the one that puts a whole bunch of firebombs into your deck. To be able to deal with that with 1 spell is really nice. Likewise, it's one of the reasons why I've chosen to include Eilyn's Favor is giving myself Aegis. It does have a couple of moments where it proves its worth. Lightning Storms to mop up all of our attacking creatures, Lightning Strikes to do the same, and then Static Bolts. I like my Static Bolt because they do have a couple of pieces of weapon removal in this deck, and having something that's damage based is helpful in my opinion. And of course the absolute MVP, Virus Favor, deal a damage, kill yourself a Grenadin, keep ramping, find what you need. Executes, not premium removal, but it's nice enough. To be honest, I could just as easily be including Death Strikes. In fact, it's probably an upgrade, but these ones are shiny. And so that's a bit of fun for me. And then Plagues is my other piece of Grenadin hate. Card draw, Stormcallers, and then we have a couple more creatures, but they're hiding in the form of monuments, so they don't turn into creatures until much later when I need them. Sweet little deck. It's wonderful to see what we can build around Tundra Explorer now. Let's have a run through and see how they work. And let's try and spoil a couple of robots' days. We'll start off going token for token. Unkeepable hand. I need more power than this. I don't even have the opportunity to talk about a more dubious hand and whether I'll be comfortable. And this one, it's fine. The minute we draw that extra piece of power, we're safe thanks to the Amber Acolyte, and we have some cheap guys to get in and block early if we feel as though we're having problems, and an assembly line to really shut up shop quickly. So I need to work out if I want to be blocking this. Given that it has Warcry, I think it is one that I want to be blocking. And so I'll play the one drop that has the least value for me to get in the way of this particular ticking Grenadin. Ooh, so they discarded a Temper. Must have a reasonable card there then. Be really nice to draw a second one drop here. That one's got flying, so that's going to be a little bit of a problem for me for a while. Fortunately, it's only 1 damage a turn for the time being. If they're happy to trade, I still get out a Warcry. That's not a problem at all from my perspective. I have a choice here. I could either play the assembly line now, or I could play the Amber Acolyte, so that way I can play the Marisen's Disciple next turn. The reality is getting a 2-2 and a 3-3 in this scenario is not significantly more valuable than getting a bunch of 1-1s. So I'll take the bunch of 1-1s for this turn, make sure that I have myself a bit of a board. In retrospect, I might have been better off. That one's got unblockable. Do I want to chump attack in to get 2 damage? No, my goal's really just to slow things down first. And if they attack in, then that will be the green light for me to attack with as many people as possible. Oh boy, okay, so we really need to get aggressive. That's going to represent a serious clock if we're not careful. But they are holding back, which is very interesting. If I was up against a human opponent, I don't think they'd be holding back. I think they'd be going, you've got 4 turns to beat me, go and do it. So if I'm to attack with everybody, they'll block my Sandcrawler and I'll do 5 damage. I can't afford to do that too many times in a row. I think what we'll do is this turn we'll play another assembly line so I can chump attack in at least with the 6. Do I want to do this now and get 2 damage in and start the process? I guess it's worth the same now or later. But I think whilst this is here, we just need to go as wide as possible. Especially as this can plausibly kill me in a handful of turns. If they have a torch, or if I get unlucky and draw a firebomb, this could be game over. So now the race is epically on. An argument could have been made to not play this, so that way I would have had less of a chance of drawing a firebomb, but I feel as though I just need to attack anyway. Okay, so if we attack with everybody, they block the 3/3. Double damage blocks here. Blocks here, blocks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage, getting him down to 6. I could use my temper now, and that way I get extra damage in. If I do that, I need to make sure that I keep some creatures back to block. If they draw a torch, I'm dead no matter what. If I draw a firebomb, I'm dead no matter what. I think the one I need to fear the most is this one that does double damage, because if that gets a piece of equipment on it, that could really hurt. And then as far as attacks, if this is attacking into... What does that look like? That's doing 7 points of damage, so I'll have 1 block there, 2 trade, I'll do 5, getting it down to 8. Am I better off attacking with these 2 as well? If I do, then that blocks here, they block there, I get in extra 1 point of damage. No, it's not worth it. So yeah, if I'd been against a human opponent, I'd be dead by now, because they would have attacked and I would have been in a bit more strife. I can still be in trouble if they draw a piece of equipment or something like that. Now if I attack with everybody, they block here, they take 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So unless they have a piece of removal as well, I should be okay. That was a bit more nerve-wracking than it should have been, thanks to the unblockable. You'll notice that I would have been very okay if it would have drawn almost any other random skill. But sometimes you do have to roll with the punches. The one that I'm looking forward to most, actually, to be honest, is to play this control deck. It is sweet, and it's a bit unfair when you can build a control deck knowing your opponent in mind, there's not much they can do. So, let's find where my list is. The Feln Control for the Grenadin Revolt. And if we draw a Lightning Storm or a Plague, they're pretty much dead before they even start. If I had 1 more Sigil, I'd keep this hand because I'd be able to ramp like crazy. Argument could be made for keeping it for Lightning Storm, but we've got more than enough good stuff in our hands to take silly risks like that. And so now all we need to do is draw 1 Shadow Sigil and we're fine. This is useful against the ones that do damage. This is useful for the rest. And the Borderlands Waykeeper will sit here and keep us safe for the longest time. I might want to ping this if they put too much extra power on it, and I think that's what I will do on my next turn. I could wait, try and get more value out of the Plague, but the Plague's going to be getting me a lot of value no matter what happens. Okay, so they have an unblockable one and a bunch of double damage. The double damages are a problem if they happen to get any kind of equipment, so is it worth me plaguing here? I think it is. I think they happen to get an exceptionally good series of abilities. Either that, or I could just choose to Static Bolt just 1 and then wait and see what happens. I've still got plenty of life. So I can then see if they happen to put a piece of equipment on. But if they put the equipment on, then this Plague is no longer as good as it used to be. I think I'm okay with that. We can afford to wait 1 turn. Allows me to hold up my Backlash in case they play another spell that I want to respond to. And that one will definitely hurt a bit. We'll take it and then we'll put Permafrost on him. We'll need to be a little bit more careful now. Could have made a mistake here. If they happen to have another good piece of equipment to put on top of this Grenadin, I could be in a bit of strife. So I think I'm going to be playing this Plague this turn, precisely to avoid that situation that could get me in trouble. We haven't seen any of our card draw yet, which has been the bit that's made life a little bit tricky for me. It'll be nice to see one of those soon. So they're digging like crazy. Despite all of that, we're still at reasonable parity. Now, the only way I get punished for this is if one of their Grenadin happen to get haste, and if it gets haste, then that's just 1 point of damage for this turn, so I'm okay with that. Wow, so they discarded the Heavy Axe. Now, this is definitely the spell I want to Backlash. I was going to Permafrost this one, but given that this is a fast spell, I'm happy to actually buy my time. Ooh. So, here's my interesting choice. They've played the Steelfang Chakram, which is probably the most problematic card for me. I could Annihilate and save the life now, and I know that they are beginning to run low on sacrifice effects. Otherwise, I could take the damage in Permafrost and still have the Annihilate. I think I just want to value my life total right now. And it's worth us noting that they have the Chakram, so if they get a haste unit, that could get me in trouble. I would like to try and get some more spells, but I don't have one on top, which means I'm either drawing into a power or a creature. That's not a bad creature to draw. What we're going to do is we're going to Permafrost this so that they don't get the ability to make more drones that will get in my way. We also tie down the Chakram for the time being. Unfortunately for me, that lifesteal will start to make my life a lot easier. Wow, we've seen none of the good stuff from this Tundra Explorer. But fortunately, the Storm Dancer is going to be quite a useful blocker. This is another card that got adjusted in patch 1.18. That's not too much of a problem for us. The reality is we can race it if they choose to attack. Does this stop us from having profitable attacks? If we attack with everybody, they'll block either the Storm Dancer or the Puma. We'll gain 3 life going to 19. They'll take 7 going to 1. And we'll still have an overlap, so I think I'm quite happy jump attacking in here. And there's our lethal damage right here. It's one of the cute little interactions is whenever a creature blocks another creature, it becomes exhausted until the end of turn. And that is one of the ways that you can use Execute on a creature that has endurance and to get around it. Sweet. Yeah, I love that Feln Control deck, and you'll see why, particularly when we get up to this next one, the Lair of the Beast. I had some tweaks to make, and I'm really looking forward to being able to play in the next video for you. And I'm particularly happy now that we get into the meat and potatoes. These next few rounds is where the matches do get quite a bit more challenging, especially on a budget, so it should be fun. I've been Cozzy running through this video series for Pick 1 Pack 1. Thank you as always for spending some time with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. If there are things you'd like to see done differently or that you really enjoy, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, etc, etc. I know that I've been radio silent for a little bit, but I genuinely do get around to reading them and appreciate whenever someone takes time out of their day to let me know what they think of the content that I'm trying to make for you guys. Even if you just watch and go off. That's fine too. I'm easygoing. But until then, I've been Cozzy for Pick One Pack One, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Have a good one, guys.